Who do I have the Bears selecting in my first mock draft? Let's find out right now.
Bend over to your right.
What the was that?
What's up, Bears fans?
People want to hear me talk.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Nicholas Moreano Show. I'm your host, Nicholas Moreano. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment on this show. Let's keep growing this channel. We're getting closer and closer to 7,000 YouTube subscribers, but that number can keep going on, especially as we're getting closer now to the NFL draft. And we finally made it to draft month. Congratulations, everybody. We did it. Like, there's not going to be many more mock drafts from here, except I'm just now releasing my first 7-round Bears mock draft. So we're going to get into that, I think, a little bit later, because I think right now with the NFL owners meetings going on, and I'm not going to lie, have a bad case of just, FOMO here, not being able to be down there. The weather looks great there in Florida, and I'm, here, Chicagoland area. I can literally hear the wind whistling out there, but it's all right. I mean, Bears reporters are doing a great job putting out a lot of information out there, and also just league-wide what kind of is happening in the NFL with these rules and what's going to be changing this upcoming season. So I will let everybody kind of just trickle down in here. But did anybody get fooled in April Fool's prank yet? My dad played a pretty good one on my mom earlier. She said that, my dad's kind of close to that, getting close to retiring, and sent her a text saying like, oh, they're potentially going to buy us out and give us over $200,000 and all these benefits. So I might end up doing it. And then I'm like, wow, that's awesome. And my dad's been working at the O'Hare Airport for longer than I've been alive, for 30 plus years. And then later on, I hear my mom just texting me like, yeah, it was an April Fool's trick. I'm like, damn, Dad got me. But hopefully, you guys haven't been got like that. Or, you know what? I don't know. I've been definitely had in the past. I just kind of forget. Like, honestly, it's April Fool's. Like, you see stuff on Twitter happening. Like, whoa, what's going on there? It's like, that's what's going on. But let's get into the show, you guys. And really quickly, just I want to highlight some of the things that were happening just in the NFL and what rules are going to be in place, what are changing based off of what has been voted on. And just really quickly, the tush push. I think that's been a big topic of conversation. The Packers were being the ones highlighted as wanting to, ban this type of play. And Matt LaFleur was, there's been video and quotes coming out like it's just not a football play, more of a rugby style play. And you know what? I kind of agree with that, but it's just a bad look. And, here, according to Jonathan Jones, CBS Sports, right? 16 teams oppose the rule to ban the tush push. There will be much more conversation with many teams in favor of having the NFL's competition committee continue to study the play. So you gotta wait on that one. And I'm glad that there wasn't a, hey, we're gonna ban this, as it's being proposed to the league in this first round, right? Because again, I don't know if there's as much data, especially on health related issues with players, to really ban the rule as it stands today. And I know Matt LaFleur was also saying like, you want to get ahead of it before maybe those numbers and health issues come up on that type of play. And I understand that too, but it hasn't been an issue. So I don't know. We're going to see where that one actually ends up going, because we have 16 teams oppose the rule. I don't know. There's definitely been more momentum with banning it since it was I guess introduced by the Packers to have that be a possibility. You also have Tom Pelissero earlier. Expanded replay assist has been approved per source. You know what? And I mean, there's a lengthy bullet point list that he put on here that really explains the rule there, but that's another one that's going to be different this upcoming season. You also have the overtime rules. Again, Tom Pelissero, as expected, the NFL owners passed the rule making playoff overtime rules apply to the regular season. Both teams get to possess the ball, but the rule was amended to make overtime 10 minutes and not 15. I wonder how that's going to all play out, right? Especially, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like whenever overtime does happen, especially in the regular season, it almost feels like there's just not enough time. Usually one team's going to, whoever gets it first, it ends up going on a very lengthy first possession. And by the time, if that ends in a punt, by the time that team who then possesses the ball gets an opportunity, feels like time is really against them. So I now going to 10 minutes, I wonder how that's going to play a factor into, these decisions that do end up happening in the regular season. But that is something else that's going to be changed here. So just, I think some of the bigger, rule changes happening. And then really quickly, there's been a lot coming out on Ben Johnson, who met with the media earlier this morning. I really liked just reading and watching videos of him and just highlighting the importance of expected points added being a huge emphasis of how this Bears team is going to look at, just what ultimately wins or loses games. And specifically in the passing game, Ben Johnson was saying like whoever ends up on the positive end of that metric, the expected points added, especially in the passing game, I believe you put the number 80% of the time, that team's going to end up winning it. And it makes so much sense, right? That Ben Johnson is going to be really involved and wanting to lean into the analytics, just given his background and, how he has been brought up as not only a coach in the NFL, but now as a head coach. So it makes a lot of sense that the Bears are going to emphasize that. And maybe it's not so much a turnover margin, but now the expected points added that the Bears are going to look into. And I think it's a smart way. I think it's a modern way of looking at this day and age of football. Maybe, even a decade ago, it was still more so the turnover margin. And that's going to be a huge factor, regardless. It's going to be a huge factor for any football team. But now this is what the Bears are going to also prioritize on top of, those other things that clearly matter and will equate to whichever team ends up getting in that win or loss column at the end of a football game. So again, you can probably watch everything that Ben Johnson has coming out, everybody everywhere else. But today we're going to focus on my first Bears mock draft. And I for me, like I used to do these a lot earlier, and I probably should have put one right after free agency. But, by the time from here until the NFL draft, which April 24th, first night of the draft, like there's still plenty of time to do mocks. And, I'm going to unveil my first one here today for you guys. In doing so, it's a good exercise for me, obviously, just to kind of, see what you guys are thinking and see what I was thinking as I'm making these mocks. And I was using like PFF's mock draft simulator. I was also using ESPN. It has an analytics one too as well. And we kind of, I kind of compared and contrast both of them, like who's actually available in these simulators, which may not be reflective of what actually happens on, come the draft, but we did it anyway. And now here we go. So here's how we'll do it. We'll split it up. First three, excuse me. I don't know why I'm losing my voice here. First three picks we'll do in the first half of the show, and we'll save the remaining 4 picks there at the second half. So we get the 3 top 50 picks here. And guys, let's start off round 1, pick number 10. Chicago Bears are on the clock. Here we go. We'll let the comments here fill up. Who do you think I'm going to take here? And I will have an article coming out on this exact draft on Bear Goggles On. So if you don't get a chance to listen to me talk about it, it'll be out a little bit later. But my first pick for the Chicago Bears, round 1, pick number 10. And Robert Lee has it right in the comments here. Drum roll, please. I have the Bears selecting Armand Membu, the offensive tackle out of Missouri, with pick number 10. And now this pick I made, obviously given the board for most of the times I got to pick 10. Guys like Genty were gone. In one case, Tyler Warren was also gone, and I gave my opinions on maybe the Bears selecting him if he's available at 10 in the previous video, so you can check that out. But I just really love the idea of what he can do as a left tackle in the NFL. And this is a guy that played primarily at the right tackle position, 1,964 snaps at right tackle while he was at Missouri. And while he was there protecting the right side for Missouri's quarterbacks, he was elite, allowing last season, allowing 0 sacks, no quarterback hits on 392 pass blocking snaps. Guys, when I watched him and watched more of him, one of the many things, excuse me, that stands out is his strong anchor. I mean, man, when there are bull rushes happening, and go watch Texas A&M tape. I mean, he's facing Nick Scorton, he's facing Shamar Stewart, he's facing a number of different guys, and there's plenty of opportunities for Texas A&M defenders to use that bull rush. And Membu, I mean, 6'3", 313 pounds, just dropping back, dropping that ass low, and able to handle the bull rush. Love that. But then I also love his ability just to snatch and trap, opposing defensive linemen. Like, his hands are always working, you guys. And I love that about him. Like a technician, just smack the hands down, disrupt the rush, and disrupt the timing of what these defensive ends need to do to get to the quarterback. Love that as well. As a run defender, I think, uses that quickness really well. He's going to use that to his advantage in the zone blocking scheme. I think there are times where you would like to see more power from Membu, but there's just so much to like. And for anybody that's maybe thinking, man, you just drafted a right tackle, Nick, and now you're going to put him to the left side in the NFL. That's so Bears. I get it. Maybe the hesitation. And this is just one person who's talked about this, but I think it's really valuable. You guys know Kyle Long? We used to have a thing back last year, 2 years ago. We'd always comment on each other's tweets. It's a funny thing. You got to bring back that bromance. I would love to get Kyle Long on this show. I'll have to reach out and see if he'd be down. But former offensive lineman, Kyle Long, he was actually on social media just yesterday on Monday, and he was asked about the difficulty for a guy like Membu to make that switch to right tackle, which he played in college, to left tackle in the NFL. And this is what he said. Kyle Long's tweet in reply to that question. I played on the left side exclusively in college and the right side exclusively in the NFL. So the prospect of him switching sides for the league doesn't really concern me. And that's the thing. Like, if Ryan Poles, Ian Cunningham, Ben Johnson maybe see that switch as being too much for a guy like Membu, or just don't project it to work out as well as he was playing on the right side, then I don't know if you're making that pick. And also, I don't know if you're quite making that pick depending on how you feel about Braxton Jones. And speaking of him really quickly, I know, here we go. Scott Bear from Marquee Sports, who covers the Bears there, he had a tweet earlier today. Bears left tackle Braxton Jones' ankle surgery will be limited as the team moves through the offseason program and into camp. But Ben Johnson sees the traits required to be quality left tackle in his offense. Okay, so we get a little bit of Ben Johnson's thoughts on Braxton Jones, but being limited in camp, and what Ben Johnson says publicly may not be exactly what he feels internally with his team. Like, you're not going to, if somebody were asked Ben Johnson's been asked many times, just seeing some of the videos and quotes, like, so what are you doing at 10? And like, you give the answer, like, we're looking into all these prospects and you're doing all your research, and they are, but you're not going to get everything. So you get a little bit of public comments on Braxton Jones, but I think that's where this pick comes in for me. I just think that Ryan Poles, Ben Johnson see an opportunity to upgrade that position. And here's also, I think, maybe the benefit here. If Braxton Jones is healthy enough to play, like, you could still roll him out there and have Membu kind of learn the position, learn the adjustment period to left tackle, and then take over whenever you feel is best. But I don't think even like a healthy Braxton Jones completely, makes Membu not a contributor on the offense or even a day one starter. Like we'll see that happen in camp, and if Membu beats him out, he's a starter, and then you have depth at your tackle spot with Braxton Jones. That's how I see it playing out, and that's how I have it going in mock draft 1.0. So you guys can debate whether that was a terrible pick, a great pick, but that's how I have it going with the Bears' first pick in round 1 at pick number 10. All right, let's move on here to pick number 39, round 2. Let's stick with the trenches, you guys. Let's stick with the trenches here. And given the players that were available at the time, and somebody that I really liked going back to the Senior Bowl that I got to see up close and personal and then got to watch more film of and even talk to him at the NFL Scouting Combine, Darius Alexander, defensive lineman out of Toledo. This is somebody that when you watch his tape consistently, Alexander's strength just pops off, just pops up on the charts. He's overpowering offensive line. He finished with an elite 90.3 run defensive grade according to Pro Football Focus. Also had 33 total pressures now, 9th most among interior defensive linemen last season. As a pass rusher, what you're going to see a lot of as the reps kind of go up throughout a game is his ability to swim, rip when the bull rush isn't working. And you know what? I like the versatility he can also provide for a defensive line. 6'4", 310 pounds. Toledo primarily played him in that B gap, but he had some reps as I was watching film where he's outside of the offensive tackle. You can put him, obviously inside. He's going to primarily play there. And I was just looking at the size of him, 6'4", 310. I mean, he's bigger than Andrew Billings, but he has quickness. He has speed. He has power. I mean, I just like the versatility and what he's capable of doing. Like when I was watching him at the Senior Bowl, like he was dominating. And that's why he was named the top defensive lineman on the national team, which is voted on by the offensive lineman that he went up and faced. So I think that's really telling for me when he's facing, like, if you're thinking about, oh, who did Toledo play? Like, sure. But then you go to the Senior Bowl and he's dominating. I think that, maybe quiets a little bit of the conversation in terms of the opposition that he played. So I just like the idea of what he can do on that defensive line. Gives the Bears just another weapon to deploy out there as they go through their waves of defensive linemen. So for Dennis Allen, let's keep him going in. Guys like Jervon Dexter are going to need a break. So are Andrew Billings. You have Grady Jarrett, obviously. Put in Darius Alexander now into that mix and be creative with it. Be creative with it. And that's where I think you can get a guy like Dennis Allen to bring out the best in Darius Alexander and get the most out of that frame, that ability to bull rush. And you know what? I think now because of not an apples to apples. I know I say that phrase a lot. I don't know why I have been doing that, but I'm going to put a little bit more emphasis on a player's power and ability to bull rush. I think one of the knocks last year for a guy like Jared Verse was like, oh, that's all he does. Like he's a guy that has a lot of power. How's that going to translate into the NFL? Did we see how Jared Verse translated into the NFL and was dominating? Like that power does keep showing up, and it's not that it won't, just because like maybe that's his ultimate move doesn't mean it's not a damn good one. And I'm not saying Darius Alexander is Jared Verse, but that ability to use power, quickness to power to generate movement and a dent in the pocket. I love that ability. Darius Alexander has that. So I think from now, I don't know, maybe too much because I loved Jared Verse, you guys. I wanted him to be a Bear. And I'm still happy with the Roman Dunze pick. And I know I'm seeing a little bit in the comments here, but I start putting a little bit more emphasis on that. Darius Alexander, he has some pop, has some power, and I have him at pick 39 for the Chicago Bears to start off round 2. All right, let's get to the last pick before we head into break here. And this is also the Bears' second round pick number 41. People are probably wondering, well, shoot, where's the running back here? Where's the running back here, man? What are we doing here? Here he is. We have the Bears. I have the Bears selecting Ohio State running back Quinshon Judkins at pick number 41. I think he's just another playmaker to add to Ben Johnson's offense. For quarterback Caleb Williams to add as a complement to what DeAndre Swift can do as a runner. And Ben Johnson had some comments also earlier today about DeAndre Swift. But north and south runner, you guys, at 6 foot, 221 pounds. What I kept seeing on tape is somebody that loves to finish runs. Lower the shoulder pad and let every defender who's going to try to tackle you feel it. And I love that physicality from Quinshon Judkins. That physicality, that ability to finish runs allowed him to bounce off tacklers to gain an additional 587 yards after contact. And I think where Judkins, excels and where DeAndre Swift was not effective last season is in between the tackles. Let's just say it how it is. And maybe that's due to the interior offensive line, which is now revamped for sure. But I think Judkins, what you see some patience in his steps. Like when you watch it and slow it down, it's not like there are these gaping large holes immediately from Ohio State's offensive line. They did do a good job, but you see some pace to him. You see some pace. And then when it opens up, there is burst. There is burst to exploit those holes and get into the open field. And he's definitely not somebody who's I would consider like shifty, like a DeAndre Swift in the open field is just going to make you miss. He'll put a move, and if it works, it works. If not, you see a lot of the stiff arm coming out, which is fine. Like they're different types of runners in the open field. But together, him and Swift, I think it gives you that 1-2 punch that maybe Ben Johnson's still looking for as he kind of reflects back to his days in Detroit with Dave Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sonic and Knuckles, right? And again, it's not going to be exact same situation here in Chicago, but that's the type of runner who'd be getting physical, will break tackles because of his physicality in Judkins. So we've addressed the offensive line with pick number 1, the defensive line with the second round pick, and now the running back position with pick number 41 in the second round. I think, I don't know, for me, as I'm making this, I'm like, all right, I'm hitting on what I want to hit on. Now, how else can I round out this draft with pick 72? Then we have the 5th rounder, which is pick 148. And then your 2 7th rounders, pick 233 and pick 240. But we are going to get to those draft picks just in a little bit. But first, everybody, we got to take a quick timeout. And as I'm, going through, reading the ad reads, please let me know how I did. Where would you have made a different pick between those 3? We'll get to that after the break. But first, got to start off by telling everybody about Windy City Sports Cards, man. They specialize in buying and selling all things related to Chicago sports. Whether you are a diehard fan of the Bears, Bulls, Cubs, White Sox, or Blackhawks, they've got you covered with an extensive selection of sports memorabilia and collectibles. In addition to their Chicago-focused items, everybody, they also offer a vast collection of sports trading cards and memorabilia from your favorite teams and players. Visit their online store to find exactly what you're looking for to complete your collection or to discover a new favorite. Check them out at 312-WindyCitySports.com. That's 312-WindyCitySports.com. And then really quickly, you guys, before I get to my second ad read, which I'm excited to tell you about, see this shirt here? Windy City Sports Cards sent this over from Avi Shirts. No block. If you know anything about Ben Johnson, you know what it says on the back. No rock. So I was happy to rock this one on today's show. I think it's very fitting with everything going on, but the no block, no rock. Let's go. Check out Windy City Sports Cards. Also check out Avi Shirts. They have great merch and are awesome people to work with. All right. My next sponsor, first time on the show, really happy and excited to tell everybody about Napleton Cadillac of Libertyville. Look, it's the one-stop shop for all your needs. And What I mean about that is sales, service, parts, and body shop is all available at Napleton Cadillac of Libertyville, located on 1050 South Milwaukee Avenue in Libertyville, Illinois. The team prides themselves on their service, winning Dealership of the Year twice. And look, you can check out their website at NapletonCadillacLibertyville.com to see all their new and pre-owned vehicles, including, you guys, the new all EV Cadillac Lyric. Beautiful looking vehicle. Got to go check that one out. And also subscribe to their YouTube channel to view more of their vehicles, which you can find in the description below. So check that out after this video. Napleton Cadillac of Libertyville, your one-stop shop for all your needs. All right, you guys, back Nicholas Moreano Show here to continue my mock draft 1.0 here. And we start off in the third round. And look, I had to put this player in my first mock draft. And if you've been reading my work at Bear Goggles On, and if you haven't, go check it out. You know that this is one of my draft crushes. And that's at pick 72, round 3, Andrew Makuba, the safety out of Texas. I mean, like I said, one of my favorite prospects in this draft. A guy that transferred from Clemson to Texas, was primarily playing in the slot there, but then moved to this free safety position. 1 year of production, and dude looks comfortable, looks natural at the spot. Like, you wouldn't guess like he didn't play there for his entire career, just based off of his instincts, his movement skills, how physical he is in the run game. He just looks like a natural safety. And with Kevin Byard, 32 years old, last year of his contract, it's time to find that safety of the future. And that is Makuba here with pick number 72. He finished his 2024 season, 15 games played, 69 tackles, 4 for loss, 7 PBUs, and was tied for the 4th most in the FBS with 5 interceptions. And like I said, that physicality showed up consistently despite the 5'11", 186-pound frame. Like, if he has an opportunity, to lay somebody out, he's looking for it. And I love that about him. There's he's fearless mentality. He plays with that type of mentality. And that, I think, every defensive coordinator is going to love. But Dennis Allen, too, has kind of also had experience in his past, you guys, working with these DBs that were once corners, like Andrew Makuba, and then transition to more of that safety role later on in their career. Charles Woodson was one of them. So when Dennis Allen was the head coach in Oakland at the time, Charles Woodson already made that transition from playing cornerback from 12 years to now safety at the back end. So Dennis Allen, head coach at Oakland, got a chance to work with a guy like that. Tyrann Mathieu was another one. You know, in Arizona, primarily played in the slot, was also mixing in at safety. But then when Allen got a chance to coach him when he was the head coach in New Orleans, Tyrann Mathieu was already more of that free safety role. And he played most of his snaps at that position, free safety, last year under Allen. So he knows like how to use these guys, these different type of body types. And Makuba can be one of them. So I just think when I look at like how Dennis Allen can maximize a guy like this, who's just still learning the position, I like the fit. And the one knock here that I do have in my notes, that frame does kind of show up, like I said, 5'11", 186. One, like I say, he's physical, but he's not always going to bring down, ball carriers. Like that just showed up sometimes on film. And sometimes the angles he would take, like he's looking for a big hit sometimes when he's just look to make a secure tackle, can work on that. And I think a guy like Dennis Allen can help him work on limiting the missed tackles. If you do that, man, I just really like Makuba. Like I really do. He just kind of, I don't know. I like what he could potentially do. All right. I got my first bad mock from No Mama 81. Hey, can't please everybody, but maybe tune in next week. I'll have a better one. I'm not going to cater to anybody that listens, but I am just going to make them how I view the players, the mocks, and how everything ends up going. I should have looked up the pronunciation of, is it here? Here we go. Let's go to round 5 really quickly, and hopefully I remember exactly how I do this. Round 5, pick 148. Who do I have the Bears? What do I have the Bears doing? Well, I have them going to Georgia and selecting edge rusher Tyrion Ingram Dawkins. I think what stands out is traits. He actually, at the NFL scouting combine, you guys, he worked out with the defensive tackles, which I think was kind of unfair for the defensive tackles, to be completely honest, because he's 6'5", 276 pounds, working out with the defensive tackles, and he finished as the top performer, the 3-cone drill, 7.28 seconds. The top performer in the 20-yard shuttle, 4.34 seconds. Top performer in the broad jump, 10 feet 4 inches. And the vertical jump, 36 inches. And he had the third fastest 40 at 4.86 seconds. And now, according to PFF, if you're wondering, well, why did he line up even with the tackles? Well, that's interesting, because he played 218 snaps last season outside the tackle, 186 over the tackle, 104 in the B gap, and 26 snaps in the A gap. So for Georgia, he provides some versatility, man. Like a guy that was literally lined up everywhere in Georgia's defensive line at all different spots. And last season, he finished with 3 sacks, 15 hurries, and 3 batted passes. He will fit the physical makeup that Dennis Allen is looking for in his defensive line. But I think really what's going to make or break this particular player, Ingram Dawkins, especially in the 5th round, is coaching. Like, can Dennis Allen get the most out of this type of guy? And obviously the position coaches are going to play such a huge factor in this as well. But if you can maximize this guy that has so many God-given traits, again, the physical size, the speed, the power that he shows at times, then you may have something here. But as a 5th rounder, this guy is nowhere guaranteed to really capitalize on what he's been given. Like, it's going to take the coaching. It's going to take him to receive the coaching and apply it in a productive way. And if he could do that, then you might have something here. But I just like the traits, banking on that upside, what he can potentially be at the next level. And I still wanted to add to this defensive line room because I nowhere think that it's completely done and over with. Even with the signing of Dio Dangbo and Austin Booker going into year 2, and Montez Sweat being the focal point there. But wanted to give Dennis Allen, this defense, another edge rusher to work with, to mold, to grow as he learns from the guys ahead of him. But if he can just put it all together, then you may have something here, you guys. You may have something here in Ingram Dawkins, the edge out of Georgia, with the 5th in the 5th round, pick 148. So we're going back to back to start off the last 2 picks. Andrew Makuba, safety, going edge with Georgia. And then, guys, we only have 2 more picks in this 2025 NFL draft. So not much to work with, and they're both 7th rounders. So, hey, none of these guys obviously are guaranteed to even make the roster. Practice squad is still something you gotta fight for. But with pick number 233 in round 7, going back to Georgia, and I'm picking Arian Smith, the wide receiver. And this is just another speedster with a 4.36 40-yard dash at the NFL scouting combine to add to Ben Johnson's offense potentially if he makes a team. And yes, the Bears already added, like Olamide Zaccheaus, Devin Duvernay. You also still have Tyler Scott. Bam, you add another wide receiver here in Arian Smith. You're going to want, obviously you're banking on the plus side of his speed to get onto the football field with 4.36 40. But what he's going to have to work on more than anything, and that's, I think, with these later round prospects, you're kind of highlighting the negatives because there obviously are more of them as you get further and further down the draft, which is no surprise by anybody. But look, 6 foot, 179 pounds, smaller frame. Not to say that doesn't work. Like, you look at a guy like Devontae Smith, he doesn't have the biggest frame by any means, especially weight-wise, but he's been pretty successful in the NFL. But what he needs to work on more than anything, it's pretty big for a wide receiver, is the drops, man. Like, he can get open, get by a defense, but 10 drops last season, that's not going to do it at the wide receiver spot. You can't be relied on if you can't catch the football. You can do everything else right. $1 million move, 10-cent shot, right? Making the moves to get open, running the route, getting behind the defense, and then drop. And he's not going to be a contested ball guy. That's not really obviously his game. But yeah, like Eric Bochanan in here. Perfect timing. His hands are iffy. Yeah, they are. And that's why he's probably, was still available to me in the 7th round here, despite the speed, production. I mean, he led the Bulldogs last season with 817 receiving yards, 4 touchdowns on 48 receptions. But if he wants to see the field, needs to catch the football. Absolutely needs to catch football. Like, I don't want to get flashbacks of, Tyler Scott in 2023, even tracking the football in air and then a drop happening, right? Like, we don't need any of that. And if Arian Smith can become more consistent in that aspect of his game, then, he has a chance to see the football field. No guarantee. Especially anyone in the 7th round. Let's be honest here. No guarantees for any of these guys. Dude, I mean, really quickly, Ryan Poles in the 3rd round. Like, I know I have Makuba going there, but I mean, the 3rd round for Ryan Poles has just not been his greatest round. Too early to say in Karan Amagaji. Too early to say, but Zach Pickens, 2023 draft, healthy scratch, you guys, the end of last season. Velus Jones, I don't really have to explain myself there. He's no longer on the football team. So, yeah, that's going to be a problem. Eric Bochen, I got to bring you up here again. I thought you were going to go Wims in the playoffs. Another Georgia Bulldog, right? Another Georgia Bulldog. Yeah, that was. Actually, it's funny that you bring this play up because I don't know why it randomly popped up on my feed. Maybe sometime last week. That was it was a beautiful play concept. Beautiful throw by Mitch Trubisky against the New Orleans Saints. That would have been against Dennis Allen, right? If I'm not mistaken. They got him. Hey, Matt Nagy got him. Wims just dropped the ball. Can't have that. Can't have that. All right, everybody. Last pick in the 2025 NFL draft for my mock draft 1.0, which I know you guys love, or hate, or you're just like, it's another mock draft. Who cares? Completely understand that one too. As I was just kind of looking at potential players here, and I think, I'm not second guessing it, but I will give you the alternative to, who I could have selected here, or position group, I should say. We are going back to the offensive line. For me, you can never have enough offensive linemen. I think what Ben Johnson said at the scouting combine, you don't just need your starting 5, you need 6, 7, even more than that to really get through a season at times. And this player might not even be a part of that equation. But I have the Bears. I have Ryan Poles going back to his alma mater at Boston College and selecting center Drew Kendall as the final pick in the Bears 2025 NFL draft. And this is a guy, past 3 seasons, he's played all 2,436 snaps at center, given up in 3 seasons, just 5 total sacks, 6 quarterback hits, and 26 hurries in 37 games played. I mean, that's reliable production from a guy like Kendall at the center position. And now with him, I mean, the biggest thing that I think is watching a little bit of Boston College tape. The anchor probably is going to be a big issue. Like, let's be honest here. At that spot, he's going to have an issue anchoring. He's going to have an issue, I think, just with position flexibility. Like, he didn't play. I don't think he's at what? He's 6'4", 299 PFF lists him. I think he was a little bit heavier on NFL.com. I don't know. Maybe he's just not quite big enough to even provide depth at the guard spot. I think Ben Johnson's going to want a little bit bigger guards there. But as a developmental guy, again, has no guarantee to make this football team. I just like having another center there. I know they have Stromberg, out of Arkansas a few years ago on the roster still, but I just like that idea of having another center. You have Ryan Bates, who also has played it, but somebody that maybe can provide, I don't know, depth at some point if he makes even the practice squad. But with the 240th pick in the 7th round, it's unlikely. It's unlikely. Let's just call it how it is. But that is who I have the Bears selecting with the final pick. Orange Cassidy, really quick, I see your comment here. I was considering the Purdue center. I was considering him. Yeah, you also, Doug Kramer is a good point. / fullback Doug Kramer. Really quickly, as we're kind of wrapping up the show, getting to the end here. Do we see Doug Kramer as a fullback this season with Ben Johnson as the play caller? What do you guys think? You think he's going to look at what happened last year and be like, nah, man, I'm good. I don't want any of those problems. I don't want to have even the opportunity to have those problems. Let's just bring in an actual fullback. I don't know, man. Maybe Doug Kramer's time at fullback wasn't long there, but might be over with at this point with how last season ended for the Bears offensive lineman / ball carrier there. We have actually Ashley X Machina. I like him as a fullback despite the fumble. Or what, he didn't report as eligible, right? Minnesota, Monday night. What did the Bears? I can't even remember. That was a weird time for me in life after that game. But yeah, there's a couple of issues there with Doug Kramer lining up back there or whipping on blocks and things like that. But it'll be interesting to see how Ben Johnson kind of looks to maybe even implement that position in his offense as he continues to build this playbook for the players that he does have and trying to maximize them, in this upcoming season. But guys, that is mock draft 1.0. Just to recap everything here as we kind of get ready to close out this edition of the Nicholas Moreano Show. Again, appreciate everyone for hanging out, leaving comments, agreeing with my mock, hating it, everything. I appreciate you guys being here, on your Tuesday afternoon. And as you can kind of see too, I'm trying to play around with some of the times. I don't know if I liked maybe it's on me. Maybe it's on just the timing of when I was doing the shows, like that 9 o'clock, 9:30 in the morning. Obviously, people are going to work or are at work. So it's maybe harder to get more people live to, engage with you guys and to just get more viewership. This is a little bit, obviously, later. We have, and I started a little bit late due to some things I had to do. But still messing around with it. But if you are rocking with the 11 a.m. start, maybe that could be a thing. To recap my mock draft 1.0, we have pick 10, round 1, Armand Membu, the offensive tackle out of Missouri. Then you have round 2, pick 39, Darius Alexander from Toledo. Round 2, pick 41, Quinshon Junkins, running back, Ohio State. Round 3, pick 72, Andrew Makuba, safety, Texas. You have round 5, pick 148, Tyrion Ingram Dawkins, edge defender out of Georgia. Then you have round 7, pick 33, Arian Smith, wide receiver out of Georgia. And round 7, pick 240, Drew Kendall, center out of Boston College. That is my mock draft 1.0. Next week, I'll have another one. Well, I'm just going to keep putting these out until the real draft happens on April 24th, and no more mock drafts for the rest of the year. All right, maybe we can have a rework. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But that's mock draft 1.0, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments, but make sure as you're, heading out to enjoy the rest of your day, like this video, Please leave a comment. Let's get that subscription. Let's keep it rolling with the subscriptions. I'm getting closer and closer to 7K. I mean, the goal is nowhere near finished for me. Like I want to see 10K before the season even starts. That would be fantastic. But we're just gonna keep building it up here as I keep putting out content for you guys. And like I said, I love doing this show. Love interacting with all of you. It's been great. So let's keep it going here as we continue to build the Nicholas Moreano Show. But that's going to do it for this episode. Everybody, tune in for tomorrow. We'll have another one there. But also, if you're someone that didn't catch this live, yes, this is available on your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I'm so glad that I was able to get on Apple Podcasts because I see that has been the biggest place where a lot of people are downloading the show and listening. So really happy about that. So everybody have a great rest of your Tuesday. But until then, adios, Bears fans.
Bend over to your right. What the was that?
What's up, Bears fans?
People want to hear me talk.